in 8.4 using unittests' test discovery functionality. We're going to look at unittests' ability to find tests to run automatically rather than being told which ones to run. We're going to see how to control that search, and we're going to look at a few things to keep in mind when we're using this capability. We've seen how to easily run all of the tests in a particular file, but for a large project, putting all the tests into a single file would be troublesome. They need to be separated into different files according to logical groupings, or the test suite becomes unmanageable. On the other hand, it would be a pain to have to manually tell unittests to run the tests in a whole bunch of files, if we had to list each of the files one by one. Fortunately, there's a way to have our test suite split up into many files and still run it with a simple command. We use a unit testing tool that supports test discovery, which basically just means that it looks in the available files and decides for itself which ones seem like test files, then loads the tests from those files and runs them. The unit test module has a basic but useful test discovery tool built in. When we use python-m unit-test discover, it searches the current directory for Python modules whose names start with the word test. In addition, it recursively performs the same scan on any subdirectories that contain an init.py file. Once it's collected the names of all of the matching modules, it runs the tests just as if we'd specified the modules on the command line ourselves. There are a few command line options we can use to adjust the behavior of unit test discovery. The first, which we saw in passing a moment ago, is the -v switch, which makes the test report somewhat more verbose. We used it here so we could see that the discovery had worked properly. We can use the -p command line option to change the pattern that is used to recognize test files. Here we've changed it so that the file names ending in the word 1.py are recognized as test files. The unit test discovery code also recognizes -s to specify the directory where the test search should start. Notice that by making the suite directory act as a starting directory for the search, we've stopped it from being recognized as a package containing the tests. If that's a problem, we can supplement the -s option with -t, which tells unittests where to find the top-level directory for this run. By using both -s and -t, we're able to narrow the test search to a particular subdirectory, while still running the tests in the context of the parent directory. There's a bit of a pitfall to be aware of when using unittests test discovery code, or any other test discovery code that works by importing modules to check whether they contain tests. That pitfall is the modules are imported. Most of the time that's not a problem, but if the test discovery code imports a module that was meant to be a program entry point, that might result in actually running the program, which is not the desired behavior. It's easy to avoid this problem when we're writing an entry point by wrapping the entry point code in an if name equals main statement. But if we or somebody else left off that check, and unitest thinks that file looks like a test file, running unitest discovery code will have surprising results. That's about all there is to unitest's test discovery tool. It doesn't have many features, but it does have the features that everybody needs, and there's a good chance that it's all we'll need for the majority of projects. The discovery process will find test case classes, as long as they're in appropriately named files. The start directory, top-level directory, and pattern command line options let us configure how those files are found. And it's important to keep in mind that the test discovery code will import every module that it finds that has a name that seems like it might contain tests. That means that if any of those modules is the program entry code and it doesn't use the if name equals main trick, we might end up starting the whole program running rather than just importing for testing. For cases where we need more from our test discovery tool, we can use nose, which we're going to look at in the next video.